Right now, on a special edition of Good Morning Jacksonville, our month-long GMJ On the Road series culminates in style as we take you aboard the new crown jewel in downtown Jacksonville.
After years of planning, the centerpiece of the new Jacksonville Naval Museum is open for business, helping usher in what hopefully will be a new era in a reimagined downtown skyline on the city's North Bank.
This morning, we take you on board and inside the gray ghost of the Vietnam coast, with stories told by the men who once served our nation on this ship.
Plus, you'll hear from the nephew of the ship's namesake as we share stories of one of the last remaining Deering-class destroyers still in existence from the World War II and Vietnam eras. It's anchors away quite literally on this special edition of GMJ on a Friday. That, my friends, is a double entendre. Good morning to you. We're live. It's a frosty Friday, but we got the sun coming up. We got first light here over the USS Orleck, downtown Jacksonville. It's been a fantastic morning, but it's only going to get even more fantastic as we do have a dramatically changing downtown Jacksonville skyline for the past few years, and this is just going to be a big-time part of that. We're so happy you're with us on a Friday. I know hearing that song there, a lot of folks, Navy veterans, Navy service members probably standing up this morning. We salute you. We thank you for your service, and we hope you get an opportunity to come down here and visit the Orleck at some point and some of that history.
What a gorgeous shot, folks. Welcome in. We appreciate you joining us here for GMJ On the Road, live on board the USS Orleck here in downtown Jacksonville. I'm Keitha Nelson here with Lewis Turner. Folks, we've got a lot to get to for you this morning, including a look back at how the USS Orleck actually got here, made its way to Jacksonville. It was a labor of love. It took quite some time, that's for sure. Plus, we're going to take you inside for a tour of the warship, and we will be joined live by the president of the Orleck. We're talking about Daniel Bean. That is just ahead. But first, before you get your Friday started, you want to head inside now to On Your Side meteorologist Amelia Henderson. She is standing by with a look at your forecast. Amelia, I know I look cold. I'm trying my best to be cool. I'm getting texts from folks saying, Keitha, your teeth are chattering. I'm doing my best, okay?
Hey, you know, I see it out there. You're putting your hands in your pockets. You're doing all the right things. Don't worry. Here in the next few hours, it'll slowly climb, so just hang in there. It is cool out there. We do have that freeze warning all the way through about 8 a.m. this morning. That stretches from North Duval all the way into Georgia here. So very bitter out there, but we've got a beautiful sunrise early this morning. Just a little bit of cloud cover, but mainly clear here early on, starting out again into the 30s, 39 degrees, but that dew point's feeling more like a 34 degrees out there. So keep that in mind. Bundle up just like Keitha. She has the hat on, a scarf, gloves, whatever you need, especially as you're out walking your dog, especially if you plan on going for a longer walk today. For our dog walking forecast, we are featuring this new pup. Look at that smiling face. That's Callie. Callie's smiling because she's sitting indoors, not dealing with the cool temperatures, all right? 50 degrees there at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 59, and going to be climbing to about 60 for a high today. Let's talk about the events over the weekend. If you're planning on what to do here, a few things on the horizon here. Mackenzie's Run, that starts at 8:30 a.m. for those runners. Keep in mind, it's going to be very chilly out there. That's why we have it at 7 out of 10. Those temperatures will be into the 30s and 40s, but a little bit nicer during the evening hours, even though it will be on the cloudy side. We'll talk more about that weekend forecast as well as your Thanksgiving forecast coming up.
Good morning from the UF Health Traffic Center. Just in, a crash reported on I-10 eastbound near McDuff. You could see causing a lot of congestion here because these two vehicles are involved, but they're in the left lane. They're stopped in the left lane. There's really no way for them to pull over right now. So we have a long line of cars just realizing once they get to them that they got to move over. So expect some congestion in that area, and we're seeing that as well on the map here. I-10 eastbound, you see that red and orange there. That's the congestion already forming. So this just came in. Hopefully some first responders will be able to help them move off of the roadway shortly. But again, plan a little bit ahead if you're about to head out the door in that direction.
Leah, thank you so much. It is now 6:33. I'm Jessica Clark live in the studio. We'll go back out to Lou and Keitha on the Orleck in just a little bit. But first, let's hit the fast lane, get you caught up to speed on the top stories that we're following this morning. Breaking overnight, one person is dead after an accident on Atlantic Boulevard. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says a homeless person was standing in the middle of the road when a driver hit him. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. The driver and passenger of that car are cooperating with police, and JSO tells us there were no signs that impairment or speed were a factor in the crash. 3 people are in custody after a chase on I-295 on Jacksonville's west side overnight. The Florida Highway Patrol confirms they were called to assist the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office on I-295 near Pritchard Road. Police say the people got off the interstate on Pritchard, made a U-turn, got back onto the interstate before getting stuck in the median. We have reached out to police to learn what the charges against the 3 people would be. All right, happening today, the Naval Hospital Jacksonville is going to be holding some training exercises. So if you live nearby, expect to hear simulated explosions and gunfire. That training session starts at 8 this morning. It ends at 4 this afternoon. Oh boy, aren't those prices going up? And have you noticed what's happening at the grocery store as well? They're going up too. One of our viewers reached out to us with a question. It's a pretty good one too, I think. Is it actually cheaper to order a takeout Thanksgiving dinner than to buy all the food and ingredients and do it yourself? Leah Shields is verifying that for us.
Have you bought Thanksgiving groceries yet? Sticker shock? What are you seeing? We asked you on the First Coast News Facebook page, and hundreds of you chimed in. One person saying, could always go to Cracker Barrel. Would it be cheaper? Let's verify. False. My sources today are the Cracker Barrel Thanksgiving pre-order menu and Walmart grocery shopping online store. For a meal that feeds 8 to 10 people from Cracker Barrel, you get the same mains, but you get to choose your side. So here's what's in our meal. 2 turkey breasts, cornbread dressing, gravy, cranberry sauce, sweet potato casserole, bread rolls, and pumpkin pie. Totaling $166.61 after tax. You also get a $10 gift card with that pre-order. Matching that meal, I went online to walmart.com to order the ingredients. 2 turkey breasts, which come with gravy packets, stuffing mix and the ingredients that go with it, cranberry sauce, this one I went classic in the can, and the ingredients for sweet potato casserole according to Food Network's 5-star recipe. Then, of course, bread rolls and pumpkin pie. My total? $67.93. That's almost a third of what we would pay at Cracker Barrel. The key right now is planning ahead and finding the deals. And ordering your groceries online may help you stay focused. Also, check out Ibotta. The rebate app is offering a free Thanksgiving through rebates. With your Verify, I'm Leah Shields.
I think that's pretty interesting. Thank you, Leah. And so that's a look at your headlines, also some grocery shopping news. So let's go back out to Lou and Keith on the USS Orleck.
Hey, Jess, look, if you haven't made your way down here as yet, you haven't been inside, now's the perfect time to come check it out. And don't worry, we're going to give you a little sneak peek, entice you a bit.
Earlier, Renata was trying to teach us that we need to learn how to write backwards as she continues our tour here on board the USS Orleck. Good morning, Renata.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, writing backwards, a little harder, but we're at the top deck now, and here you enjoy the view. It's really beautiful. Happy Friday, guys. We also have over this side is part of the whole experience. You come up here and you get to see all the downtown here in Jacksonville. But let's go inside for the second part of the tour. This is the part of the tour with the gadgets.
This is our gun plotting room.
But before we get into more of that, how about a crazy story? Lieutenant Joseph Orleck, who the ship is named for, was officially reported missing in action in 1943. But according to ship manager Craig Burnett,
his wife and sister never told his mother that he was deceased because she was very elderly and frail, and they didn't want it to kill her. So what they did is over the years wrote letters from him to her.
Wow. Okay, continuing with our tour.
This is another one of the cool rooms, Radio Central. We have radio equipment from World War II the whole way through Vietnam era. Pilot house, this is where they steer the ship. Our status board there is actually written in Turkish because this was in the Turkish Navy at one point after the U.S. sold it to them. This radar set here was also used in the movie Greyhound. Every time you see him looking down at a radar, this is the one he was looking at.
And how about this? Can you write backwards? That's what they had to do here.
You have the status board back here where they keep track of any incoming missiles.
That completes our tour, but there's so much more to explore on the USS Orleck. Step inside, step back into history. Notice we didn't even come outside on that part of the tour. You can see this from the bridge though. Come on board. You can find all the info for it on firstcoastnews.com. Renata Di Gregorio, live on the USS Orleck, First Coast News on your side.
All right, Renata, absolutely gorgeous look there from up top. And from where we are, we got the sun rising as well here on the other side of the USS Orleck, which really, it's been years in the making. We were talking earlier, an 8-year quest to just get some sort of naval vessel right here in Jacksonville as a museum. But a couple of years now, going back to 2020, trying to get the Orleck from all the way from Louisiana to Texas, out of dry dock here to Jacksonville. Reports of this becoming the centerpiece, the Naval Museum. We've been talking about this for so long, and it's amazing that we finally got it right here. It's a retired Gearing class destroyer that had been housed in Louisiana.
You know, a year later, in December of last year, it was moved to dry dock in Texas, where it went under inspection to confirm it was safe enough to be a museum with dozens of guests on board. City leaders officially signed off on the Orleck's addition to the downtown waterfront in January, and 2 months later, voila, it arrived on the city's north bank.
That is how, voila. And
Just
here
like
we
that,
are.
right?
Absolutely. USS Orleck's history dating back much further, though, in service from the end of World War II in 1945, earning those 18 battle stars we've been talking about all morning long during Korean and Vietnam Wars. Of course, learn so much more about it, even more than we can tell you here in this short little piece of time on Good Morning Jacksonville. When you visit this museum in person with you, your family, or maybe you can host an event right here on the Orleck as well. Open every
Look at
Wednesday
those
through
old
Sunday.
photos.
Pretty
Wow.
good. You ought to spend the night.
Yeah.
You ought to bunk up
No,
one
you are
time.
not. Do not spend the night here.
No?
No, we're not encouraging that, Turner.
Oh, well, give it a go. We're right back. Much more GMJ.
Still to come here with the nephew of the ship's namesake thinks about the USS Orleck finding a new permanent home here in Jacksonville. Our special edition of GMJ Live aboard the USS Orleck continues in a moment.
Let's take a quick look at 3 things to know this morning. A federal judge has blocked the so-called Stop Woke Act, saying it violates the First Amendment. Tallahassee U.S. District Judge Mark Walker made the ruling yesterday against the law. The law prohibits teaching or business practices that contend members of one ethnic group are inherently racist and should feel guilty for past actions committed by others. Police Lieutenant Mario Pargas, who led Uvalde's police department at the time of the Robb Elementary School shooting, stepped down from the department Thursday. Pargas left the department voluntarily, but it's not really clear if he retired or if he resigned, according to city officials. The departure comes days after new audio highlighted that Pargas was told there were children alive in a classroom with the gunman half an hour before officers intervened. There's a new push for NFL or from NFL players this morning. Aaron Rodgers, along with some other players, are asking for teams to tear up their artificial turf surfaces and replace them with grass. Last week, the Players Association president said its data showed players were injured at higher rates on artificial surfaces, but the NFL disputes that data. TIAA Bank Field, well, it's a grass surface, but the division rival Colts, they do have artificial playing surface. And that's a look at some of the latest headlines. Now back out to Lou and Keith on the USS Orleck.
Hey, Jess. You know, we actually had a chance to speak with Bob Orleck, who is the nephew of Lieutenant Joseph Orleck, who this ship was actually named after. I mean, how cool is that? Let's stop and think about it. So he organized a reunion that took place last week. We're talking about 170 former sailors making their way on board the ship.
Gotta be special. Gotta be good memories. And, you know, he says when speaking about this ship, the USS Orleck, he says we all need to choose our words very carefully.
I never served on it, on her. Her, don't make a mistake. Don't call it a knit, you know, don't call it a boat, call it a ship. You know, it's a destroyer and it's honorable. And she's worthy of being saved in Jacksonville. What a fabulous city and what they've done. This is a workhorse, the most decorated warship in American history since World War II, you know, and it's a gift to the city.
A gift indeed. I mean, take a look at this thing. It is absolutely beautiful. Again, you heard him say there, be very careful about the words you use when describing the USS Orleck. She is a beauty.
Yeah. Well, it's a sacred place. We're joined by Captain Daniel Bean, President, USS Orleck. Got it here, but you know, we mentioned it being sacred, very, very special for you. What does it mean to have this ship here?
Very gratifying. You know, I served on 2 warships, 4 years, and having a warship downtown in Jacksonville is very meaningful. It's symbolic. You know, it was a long time in coming, but we felt like this was necessary for helping downtown continue to reach its potential. This is just an attraction, but you know, so far we've already had 10,000 visitors.
Oh my gosh.
We do all kinds of things: yoga, Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleaders, reunions, birthday parties, weddings. So we really want to comedy night, want to integrate ourselves into the community. Have had kids on board that have never been to a Navy warship already, Boys and Girls Club, all kinds of different things, and show kids the opportunities that the military can provide them.
You know what, Captain Dan, this didn't happen overnight. This took a lot of work to get the Orleck here. Let's talk a little bit about that, because you've been involved for about 12 years now trying to make this a reality.
Yeah, well, you know, you just have to work through all the different agencies, the city of Jacksonville, the state of Florida, the Navy, all the different various hurdles that you have to cross and clear. And so, you know, it was just a matter of being dedicated and believing in it, knowing that it's going to work. You know, since it's been here, the folks have come out greater than we anticipated. The volunteers, hundreds of volunteers already, and the ship looks better than any warship I've ever served on.
Wow.
And so it's amazing the upkeep that keeps going on. Thankfully to volunteers that have stepped forward. So it's been great.
We're seeing the drone shots. We're right now where the Orleck is North Bank, right by the Hyatt.
Right.
But what about the vision? What are your hopes, your dreams? You know, best case scenario. What do you want to see happen with the USS Orleck?
Well, it'll continue to evolve, and so we'll get to a point where we have an Airbnb on board. You can have a night on board. You can get a massage on board. You know, it'll be historic, so you can go back into history, as we like to tell people. But at the same time, we have to be relevant to today's society. We have to be able to be unique. We want people, when they step on board, what's new? What haven't I not seen? You know, we're putting televisions in different compartments to talk about the history of the ship, talk about the history of folks in Jacksonville that have served. It's going to be different every time you step on board, and that's necessary. And then greater part of the activation of the river. You know, we're going to start to do the mosh, and you buy your ticket at mosh, you come by boat to the ship.
Cool.
And then we activate the Cummer, we activate the zoo, you spend the day on the river. Those are the things that we're pushing and advocating so that we can continue to build downtown as an attraction.
I have to ask you personally what that feeling is like when you look on the face of these little kids walking around, looking up, saying ooh and ah, and learning the history. What is that feeling like for you? Because this was not easy getting this thing here.
No, but that's what part of the reason that what drove us, because after 9/11, you're not allowed on the bases, you're not allowed to see things. And what we wanted to do, one of the missions that we wanted to do was to open little kids' eyes to opportunities to serve in the military and to say, there's a much bigger world out there. How am I going to get there? Well, you can get there through the military. You can get there. The Navy warships took me around the world, and we really wanted to be able to offer that opportunity to other people.
You know, before we go to weather, I kind of want to close on the idea, you know, having served Korea and Vietnam, but focusing in on the Vietnam War. So many veterans came back from Vietnam and weren't given the proper thanks. You know, it was they were more or less treated like garbage as they came home in many cases. I think that you know, a good significant purpose of this is just one more way maybe those Vietnam veterans who are with us kind of get the flowers they deserve and the propers they deserve and a salute. You know, now as we're kind of coming to terms and realizing we need to say thanks to these guys.
Correct. There's approximately 44 Navy ships on display in our country. They're all World War II centric, so we distinguished ourselves by emphasizing Vietnam War, and it's the appropriate thing to do, as you said, Lewis. And the ship really wants to thank Good Morning Jacksonville for being out here. We're grateful that you guys are braving the cold, but it's a really tremendous honor for us to host you all today. Well,
Captain Dan, we appreciate you. You're talking about braving the cold. You have on no gloves, no jacket, no nothing. Look, it's cold out here, folks. I'm giving you a heads up if you do head down here. We want to go inside now to, on your side, meteorologist Amelia Henderson, who is standing by live right now with a look ahead at your forecast on this frosty Friday. Hey, Amelia.
Hey, that's exactly what it is, a frosty Friday. But hang on, Keitha, we're almost done with the newscast. You can come inside to the warmth here in just a little bit, but we have to start out things with the freeze warning in North Duval stretching north through Georgia, as well as a frost advisory in Brunswick, Georgia. Now that does expire here in the next hour or so, expiring at 8 a.m. All right, let's take a look at Futurecast here. So Luckily, we're not up north in the Midwest and stretching north there where there's a whole lot of snow out there following that low pressure system. For us here at home, this high pressure system is developing at least through today, keeping things nice and dry, very clear, lots of sunshine in the forecast. Again, at least through our Friday before this low pressure system here sets in from the Gulf there, and it's going to be bringing quite a bit of rainfall and a lot of cloud cover here through the weekend. Now that rainfall really isn't expected to come into our area until Sunday. Maybe a light shower there on Saturday, but the majority of that rainfall again coming in on Sunday. Let's take a look at these temperatures here. So starting out into the 30s in some areas, just above the freezing range in Brunswick, 39 in Jacksonville, the rest of us hanging into the 40s. Let's talk about the wind chill. Of course, we have those winds picking up out of the northwest, impacting the way things are feeling out there. So it feels more like 35 in Jacksonville, 36 in St. Simons, again, still 33 in Brunswick, but 40 right along the river there where they are at the USS Orleck. So definitely need to bundle up early this morning. We talked about the wind speeds going to be picking up the next few days here. Here's another look at Futurecast, bringing in the showers and the cloud cover here by this weekend. So try to enjoy the sunshine while you can, and those temperatures not warming up until the middle of next week.
Over the USS Traffic Center, we're tracking a crash on I-10 eastbound, causing quite the congestion for you this morning. It does appear that the crash may have already been cleared or at least moved over to the side, but still, people are slowing down in this area. You see the backup here. Not as bad as it was even just 10 minutes ago, so that's positive. If you're about to head out the door, you might get lucky, but you see that yellow and orange on the map. That's the congestion warning. So I-10 eastbound near McDuff. Again, the maps say it's all clear, but I'm guessing it's most likely to the side on the shoulder. So you got a lot of people taking a look, seeing what's going on, and slowing down because of that. So right now, near McDuff eastbound on I-10, plan ahead for maybe a little extra 10 minutes in your commute. We'll be back after the break.
And welcome back, everybody. Hey, First Coast News, so proud to support our military community, our veterans in so many different ways. We're on board the USS Orleck this morning, and we're talking Canines for Warriors as well. We want to thank you for giving during our telethon yesterday. My gracious, the event raised more than $800,000 and counting.
That is impressive.
And counting is
Yes.
still going up. We're going to get towards that $1 million goal. The nonprofit pairing veterans with PTSD with their service dogs in an effort to end veteran suicide, end those thoughts as well for veterans like chasing his dog. Mikey. Did you meet Mikey yesterday, Katie Jeffries?
I met the puppy Mikey.
Oh, did you?
So there's two Mikeys. I met
Mikeys.
the puppy Mikey, and they said at 16 months old is when he'll start to be paired with a veteran. He was only about 16 weeks at this point.
Little guy.
Those stories yesterday, I was just like, my jaw dropped when I heard some of them, and to see
Very
the
touching.
influence those dogs are having on their lives. Keeping them alive, it's awesome to see.
Yeah, and it's wonderful that so many people called in to donate.
Yeah.
Our community is top notch.
800,000, wow, that's impressive.
Ain't that a fact? Hey, come see the USS Orleck, gorgeous morning, open for business, ready and raring to go.
I see
Bring
the drone
donation.
shot there. Have a good one, folks. Happy Friday.